K-pop Demonhunters. Why is it so popular lately? I wasn't really interested before it blew up like this. But as it started popping up everywhere, on media, Instagram, YouTube, when I first asked people around me if they'd seen it, more people actually hadn't seen it. It started getting more and more attention, supposedly because it was already popular overseas. So I think that's what made me take a closer look. Why is K-pop Demonhunters more popular abroad than it is among Koreans? I was curious about that, so I decided to check it out. At first, when I tried watching it, I actually fell asleep during my first attempt. So I didn't manage to watch it all the way through. When I had a bit more free time, I watched it all the way through, and honestly, it was pretty entertaining. Basically, it's a movie and it's quite short. The second time around, I started thinking about why it was so popular, and I realized the story was actually really well put together. That's what I noticed, and from the very beginning, you can tell they paid a lot of attention to detail in everything, the visuals, the music, all of it. From what I saw, honestly, even the title design for K-pop, Demonhunters, really shows the movie's identity. The font itself gives off that K-pop vibe, and if you look at the gradient parts, doesn't it kind of look like a sword? Doesn't it feel like the light reflecting off a blade? In the movie, swords are used as weapons to defeat demons, and I think they really captured the essence of those swords well in these details.
What's so fun about K-pop Demonhunters?
One of the fun points was how well they brought out all these detailed elements. At the beginning, there's a concert scene, right? The logo for Huntrix that appears on the screen is actually a traditional pattern. I could tell they really tried hard to incorporate a lot of Korean elements into K-pop Demonhunters. They really put their heart and soul into it. That's what I thought. It's incredibly detailed. There are situations that could have just passed by in the story, but they really brought those parts to life. The art director focused on K-pop and the theme. The theme itself is something that appears a lot in Korean movies. But mixing K-pop with that theme, honestly, I think the reason it didn't catch on right away in Korea was because of that sense of familiarity. Things like thematic elements, grim reapers, or evil spirits aren't those the kinds of Korean aspects that show up pretty often in animation. But I think for people overseas, these things probably felt really fresh and new. It's like exorcism and K-pop got mixed together. When people abroad watched this animation, I think it felt new and refreshing, and the Korean elements came across as really hip and cool. Our country's ghosts are kind of well-mannered. They're well-mannered. The Grim Reaper wears a hat, the Virgin Ghost is in a hanbok, and there are just scenes where their hair is let down. That's there, but they're pretty dignified. I think our ghosts are kind of dignified. When the demons first appeared, they were kind of cute. The demons themselves aren't scary or anything. They actually feel really cute. And you know, we have those dokibi in Korea. I think they really brought out the character of those dokibi well. They all look like dokibi, right? This is dokibi, just straight up dokibi, you know? I think they did a great job capturing the shape of dokibi as seen in old folk paintings and illustrations. But they're not scary. They're all dokibi, just dokibi. And each of these dokibi has a different face.
I understand. You are weak. Die!
It's Lee Byung-hun's voice. You know, hey, look, check out this dokibi. It's so funny, and they really brought the characters to life. The faces of Korean K-pop stars, like Jinwoo, really look a lot like Cha Eunwoo. Seriously, they look so much like Cha Eunwoo. And look at this. This t-shirt is hilarious too. They really went overboard with the Korean elements, like way too much. Look at this. It's in everything. Even the patterns on the t-shirt, like these mountains, have that vibe you see in traditional Korean folk paintings. And here, norigi accessories. And look here, all these Korean patterns are included, like dancheong, and every part of this outfit is filled with Korean design elements. The details are incredible, people really say that. They call it a K-Pride animation. It feels like it's really praising Korea, like it's made by someone who absolutely loves Korea. They say it was made by Sony. Sony made it. But what was Sony thinking when they decided to make something like this about Korea? Even the song sounds like something people would really like these days. But what does the demon have to do with the song? No, it didn't feel out of place. Yeah, that makes sense. Because that's just an element of animation, right? Since this wasn't filmed as a live-action video but instead included some animated, fantasy-like elements, I didn't feel like the Demon Hunters theme and things like that were out of place with K-pop. Why would that feel out of place? I mean, animation is full of all sorts of fantastical elements. There are even more things that are unrealistic. So in this case, they used music, K-pop style music, as a way to defeat the demons. That seems like something you could totally imagine. The way they brought out the graphic elements and those uniquely Korean details was really well done, and the storyline itself is solid, too. When you look at it, it's not that easy to weave this kind of narrative and story so tightly into just about an hour and 40 minutes. I think they pulled it off really well. There are a lot of fun elements in this. The thing is, a comic has to be fun, right? Just because K-pop music is good, or the graphic elements are really well done, I don't think that's enough to make it popular. There are a lot of witty and funny bits sprinkled throughout, like the characters' expressions and their lines, and then there are the crow and the tiger that appear here. First of all, I think the fun elements are things that young people these days would really like. People really love that unexpected cuteness and lovableness, you know. And in that sense, a tiger is usually a really scary creature. But here, it's actually kind of clumsy, a bit goofy, and seems a little lacking, you know? I think people are attracted to that kind of vibe. You think of it as something really scary, but then you realize, oh, this one's a bit lacking. There's something missing about it. That kind of thing is kind of charming, isn't it? I think this character was drawn that way too. They made the tiger character seem really lacking, and then the crow looks at him with this really pitiful, almost exasperated gaze. The tiger's name is Duffy, and the magpie. Characters were created that way, inspired by our traditional folk paintings that depict magpies and tigers. We all know that the magpie has a really positive meaning. It's often depicted as a sign that a welcome guest is coming, that kind of good meaning. And the tiger is a symbol of strength. It's also a symbol of wealth, and symbolically, tigers were often drawn to ward off bad luck. I think I was inspired a lot by those traditional beliefs and spiritual aspects when drawing them.